Mendota was laid out in 1853 by Timothy B. Blackstone. He was born in 1829 and died in 1900. He was a young 22-year-old division engineer at the time for the Illinois Central Railroad. Blackstone Park is part of a large tract of prairie land he purchased while work began on the building of the ICRR. This line ran north and south, parallel with 7th Avenue, 2 blocks west of the park. The Illinois Central's chief engineer, Roswell B. Mason, assigned young Blackstone to take charge of the construction of the projected rail line between Bloomington and Dixon, Illinois, in the summer of 1851. He moved to LaSalle, Illinois from his home in Branford, Connecticut, to begin his work of surveying, locating, and supervising the construction. The section from Bloomington to the Illinois River and terminus of the Illinois-Michigan Canal at LaSalle was completed on May 16th of 1853, and rails reached Mendota on November 14th, 1853. Mendota was named by the Illinois Central Railroad. It is an Indian word meaning crossing of the trails or junction. The second rail line's name was the Chicago and Aurora. It crossed the IC Railroad between 5th and 6th Streets, close to Main Street. The plan was for both rail lines to cross at the closest point to Aurora. Blackstone laid out the town on Section 33 of the township, 36 north of Range 1 and 1 east of the principal meridian. Blackstone owned the land from 1st Avenue to 7th Avenue and from Division Street to 6th Street. The Illinois Central and John West owned the other parts of this section, hence the Blackstone, West, and Illinois Central additions. During his time in LaSalle, he was elected as their second mayor in 1854 at the age of 25. He later became president of the Chicago and Alton Railroad from 1864 to 1899 and was also the first president of the Union Stockyards and Transit Company in Chicago. In memory of him, Chicago has the Timothy B. Blackstone Memorial Branch Library, the Blackstone Hotel, and Blackstone Avenue. In Mendota, we have Blackstone School and Blackstone Park. It is important we remember how Mendota began and Mr. Blackstone's role. Imagine him with horse and wagon, with surveying equipment in tow, riding through the tall prairie grass from LaSalle. He could have been one of the first few white men here, only to be preceded by Native American Indians in the area before 1818, when Illinois became the 21st state. He arrived at this location in about 1852 to locate the exact spot where the crossing with the C&A rail line would be. This would be where the town of Mendota would be built around. The C&A, or Chicago and Aurora, later became the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad in 1854. When he laid out the town, he set aside a square block for a park at 4th Street and 5th Avenue, which was named after him. The following is an excerpt from his biography. It is in such life service as his, and such men as he, that we can see the best fruits of our American institutions. It is in what Mr. Blackstone did and was in himself that makes his life so important a study for the young. The footprints he has left in the sands of time will give encouragement to many another of Earth's aspirants." Unquote. The Illinois Central Railroad slogan was "The Main Line of Mid-America," also referred to as the Charter Lines. At one time, it was the longest railroad in the world at 705.5 miles. A charter was signed by the 13th President, Millard Fillmore, on September 20th, 1850, for the first federal land grant to aid in the construction of this railroad. Abraham Lincoln and future rival Stephen A. Douglas were legislators then and were big supporters of the idea of a North and South Railroad and were important in getting legislation passed to make it possible. Colonel Roswell B. Mason and Timothy V. Blackstone made the Illinois Central Railroad and Mendota a reality with their civil engineering expertise and the work of thousands of hardworking immigrants who responded to the railroad's call and came to America seeking a better life. This rail line would open up the state at a rapid pace, grow its economy, allow the people to travel far and quickly, and greatly increase the population all along the line. Towns and cities were born, such as Mendota, all along these lines. During the Civil War, the IC Railroad hauled troops, munitions, and supplies through here. Lincoln and Douglas and many other well-known folks passed through Mendota on the IC Railroad. Soon after young Blackstone laid out the town, houses were built along the dirt roads, which eventually would become paved with cinders from coal-burning steam locomotives, then brick streets in the early 1900s and blacktop in the 1960s. It is hard to imagine this was once all just prairie and woodlands and Indian territory. Abe Lincoln knew the importance of Timothy B. Blackstone in helping to make his hope of a North-South Railroad a reality. He was considered one of the leading citizens of the state and nation. In 1865, Mr. Blackstone was one of 100 prominent men to go to Springfield 2 hours in advance of Lincoln's funeral train in May of 1865. Mr. Blackstone made the time on earth given to him a beacon of light and hope for coming generations and greatly improved opportunity for his fellow man back then and even now. Because of his dedication to the IC Railroad in 1851 to 1854, Mendota provided a place to work, a place to live for countless thousands, spanning generations, and a place of recreation such as Blackstone Park. The railroad line he laid out can still be seen in a few areas of the state, such as at the Mendota Railroad Museum, where you can see the original main line and learn about the history of Mendota and its railroads. In closing, I firmly believe we must recognize his importance in the origins of Mendota and the Illinois Central Railroad line. He was indeed a remarkable man coming from a remarkable family. He became immersed in the study of the science of engineering and was a genius in railroad affairs in whole and in details, and was successful and respected even at an early age. It is fitting and imperative a monument be erected in the center of Blackstone Park at the junction where the two sidewalks symbolically cross paths and/or one at the Union Depot Railroad Museum. Let me also add that at Blackstone Park there are two sidewalks that cross, and they meet in the center. And the sidewalk that points to the northwest points exactly at the junction where the two trails crossed.
here?